Welcome to the Kendra Woods Show. I'm Kendra Woods, and this is a space for high-achieving women navigating success, self-doubt, and the pressure that often lives beneath it. On this show, we explore the hidden patterns that shape how you lead your life, make decisions, and relate to success. Because success isn't just what you build, it's how you lead yourself. And here, we learn to lead ourselves well. Welcome back to the Kendra Woods Show. All right, before we drop into today's episode, I want to share something with you because what I'm about to talk about today, this pattern of questioning yourself, starting and stopping, feeling clear, then pulling back, this is exactly the work that we're doing inside of Lead Like Her. Lead Like Her is a 6-week experience for high-achieving women who are ready to dismantle high-functioning self-doubt and learn how to lead themselves from a place of calm authority. Not by forcing, not by overthinking, not by putting a ton of pressure on yourself, but by becoming the woman who can stay with herself, even when things feel uncertain. So if you find yourself in this episode today, just know that there's a space for you to go deeper. And I'm going to share more at the end. So let's talk about another pattern that I see in almost every woman I work with, whether she's building a business, leading in her career, or navigating her next level of life. This pattern is subtle because on the surface, it looks like growth. But underneath, it creates hesitation, it creates second guessing, and a quiet kind of stuckness, for a lack of better words. And it looks like this. You start moving in a direction, you feel clear, you feel decided, you're like, yes, I got this. And then you start questioning. If you're an entrepreneur, you question your messaging, your positioning, your offers, your direction. If you're in a corporate career, maybe you show up and you're questioning your decisions, your voice, your next move, whether you're on the right path. And in both cases, you hesitate, you pull back, you reassess. Sometimes you pivot, sometimes you pause, sometimes you stay, but with doubt. And here's the deeper layer. When you first started your journey in your business or your career, you didn't know what you didn't know. There was a kind of freedom in that. I think about when I first started my business, I didn't know what I didn't know. There was a certain innocence, right? Back in those days, you made decisions faster. You moved with less resistance. You weren't analyzing every single angle. You just went, you just moved. But now you've grown. You have experience, you have awareness, you've seen outcomes. So now you can see what works, what doesn't, what could go wrong, what could be better. And that awareness changes how you move. Because now, instead of just moving, you evaluate everything. You question more. You weigh more options. You see more risk. And what used to feel like clarity and momentum to you starts to feel like hesitation and second guessing. So let's really dig in and talk about what's actually happening. This is not just about business or your career. This is about your nervous system and identity. Because when you didn't know as much, there was less perceived risk. The stakes seemed really low. But now you understand the stakes, being seen, being judged, being misunderstood, making the wrong move, choosing the wrong direction. So now when you go to commit to something, it feels heavier. It feels more loaded. It feels more real. And your brain then responds by trying to protect you. not by stopping you completely, but by keeping you in this loop of, let me just think about this a little bit more. Let me consider a few more options. Let me just sit with this, right? And for high achieving women, this feels justified because your identity is built on making good decisions, being thoughtful, being intentional, getting it right. So questioning yourself feels responsible. It feels like the smart thing to do. It feels like maturity. But here's what's actually happening. What's happening is you've developed the ability to see more, but not yet the capacity to stay grounded in what you see. And this right here is the work. This is the work we do inside of Lead Like Her, right? Learning how to stay with yourself instead of constantly pulling away. So the goal the goal here is not to go back to being less aware. The goal is to become the woman who can know more and still move. You can see multiple options and you still choose. You can feel uncertainty and still commit. You can notice imperfections and still proceed. Because that right there is leadership, not certainty, leadership. So instead of asking, is this the right path? Is this the best decision? Is this perfect? What if instead you asked, can I lead myself through this? How can I lead myself through this? Can I stay with this decision long enough to let it develop? Because, see, that's the thing. That's the big one right there. I'm going to sit here for a second. Asking yourself the question, can I stay with this decision long enough to let it develop? Many people don't do this. They make the decision, but then you don't sit with it long enough to actually let it develop. Because there's a period where when you make the decision to do something or a decision in your life or your career, there's a period where things are quiet. It looks like nothing's happening. It looks like nothing's moving. And it's in that little gap that we have to learn how to hold ourselves and be with the discomfort and be with the uncertainty to actually allow what we are working on to fully develop and grow. You can ask yourself, can I trust myself to adjust without abandoning? And this is a great question to ask yourself too, because I find a lot of the times many of us have this all or nothing thinking. And so maybe you start down a path and it's not going the way that you thought. What most people do is they just abandon the whole thing, right? They throw the baby out with the bathwater. They're like, oh, I'm done. You pull back, you find some other shiny object that gets your attention, and you go down that path. But instead, I want you to ask yourself, can I trust myself to adjust without abandoning? And what I mean by that is, if you're going down this path and it looks like it's not quote unquote working, look at where you can adjust. Are there areas where you can refine certain things? Is there one area where you can adjust something and then get back out there and see how things go instead of just abandoning it? Because whether it's your business direction, your role in your career, a decision you're making in your life, your power is not in making perfect choices. Your power is in how you hold yourself after you choose. So here's the practice. The next time you feel yourself spiraling into questioning, I want you to pause. What I like to do is I like to take my hand and just put it on my heart and I just pause. And then ask yourself, is this true misalignment? Or is this the discomfort of being fully committed? And then ask, what would it look like to stay with this just a little bit longer? Because most women don't need a new path. What you need is a deeper capacity to stay with the one that you're on. So you didn't grow so you could second guess yourself more. You grew so you could lead yourself better. And that is the work. Okay. Now, if you heard yourself in this episode and you're thinking to yourself, ooh, I feel so seen, or ooh, I feel like so exposed, whatever that is, if you recognize the pattern, the questioning, the pulling back, the starting and stopping, then this is your invitation, because this isn't something you fix by finding a better strategy. It's something you shift by becoming a different kind of leader in your own life. And that's what we do inside of Lead Like Her. Over 6 weeks, I will guide you through dismantling the patterns that keep you stuck in self doubt and help you build the capacity to lead yourself with clarity, stability, and calm authority. This experience is for the woman who already knows that she's capable of more, but is ready to stop getting in her own way. Right now, the investment is $555, and that will be increasing. So if you've been feeling the nudge, this is your moment to move. All you got to do is reach out to me on Instagram directly, or you can send me an email at Kendra K. Woods and send me the word lead, or say I'm interested in Lead Like Her, and I'll send you the details. And if you're not quite ready for that level yet, you can start with my soul-led CEO ritual, a simple daily practice to help you anchor into your leadership. The link for that will be in the show notes as well. All right. If this episode spoke to you, share it with a woman who's been questioning herself lately. And make sure you're following the show and you're subscribed, because we're not just building success here. We're building women who know how to hold it. Until next time, lead yourself well.